हेलो एंड वेलकम बैक टू एजुकेशन विद अनामिका एंड आज हम एक और नया टॉपिक करेंगे विच इज द एपेक। एपेक का फुल फॉर्म है एशिया पैसिफिक इकोनॉमिक कोऑपरेशन एंड दिस इज अ रीजनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। एंड इफ यू डोंट नो, एक होते हैं इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस एंड एक होते हैं रीजनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस। इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ऐसे समझ लो कि मोस्ट ऑफ द कंट्रीज आर देयर, जैसे कि यूएन या और इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हो गई। बट फॉर रीजनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट जो इट इज रिलेटेड टू अ स्पेसिफिक रीजन स्पेशली, ठीक है, जैसे कि एपेक इज रिलेटेड टू एशिया पैसिफिक सोलली। ओके, सो इसका एक हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड देख लेते हैं। आई हैव चोजन ऐसा एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो जिसके बारे में ज्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन इज नॉट अवेलेबल, सो आई होप दैट दिस वीडियो इज हेल्पफुल एंड इफ यू लाइक इट, डू लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब एंड कमेंट डाउन बिलो इफ यू वांट टू नो मोर अबाउट अदर सच टॉपिक्स। सो स्टार्ट करते हैं। इसका हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड देखेंगे सबसे पहले, ठीक है। द आइडिया वॉज ओरिजिनली ब्रॉट अप बाय ऑस्ट्रेलियन पीएम बॉब हॉक during a speech in Seoul, Korea on 31st of Jan 1989. However, 10 months later, 12 Asia-Pacific economies met in Canberra, Australia to establish APEC. Okay, so realize that APEC ka speech and idea was what happened on 31st of Jan 1989 in Korea while Bob Hawke was giving the speech. But that doesn't mean कि तभी it was originated and वही उसका founding date है. Okay, it was 10 months later that APEC was formed in Canberra. Okay, do not get confused between Seoul, Korea and Canberra, Australia, because Seoul में just the topic was discussed. It does not mean that it came into origin, and it was only in Canberra, Australia that APEC was formed. Okay, and originally we had only 12 founding members, but now we'll see what has happened or how many more members do we have. So the founding members were Australia, Brunei, Jerusalem, Canada, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and the US. Okay, so these are the founding members. Formal regional organization and cooperation happened in 1993, Blake Island, US. Okay. Now, APEC economic leaders meet for the first time. When did they meet and outline the APEC's vision of stability, security, and prosperity for our people? Okay. So the basic vision is to have stability, security, and prosperity for the people of the members. Okay. तो ये था एक historical background as to why APEC came into being and how it came into being. For your general knowledge, Australian PM Bob Hawke, जिनका ये idea था about APEC, he looks something like this, and visual effects क्योंकि आपको ऐसे तो याद नहीं रहने वाला है कि who gave the idea of APEC and from where it happened. So maybe you can memorize it well and आपके दिमाग में ज़्यादा retain होगा if you see a picture of Bob Hawke, who was the Australian PM when he gave the idea for APEC during the speech in Seoul, Korea. Okay. Now, what is APEC? APEC is the short form for Asia Pacific Economic Forum. इसके जो headquarters है वो सिंगापुर में है. Founder Bob Hawke, he was an Australian politician and PM. Year of origin 1989, Canberra, Australia. Members, there are 21 members currently in APEC, and APEC is a 21 Pacific run countries which works towards free and easy trade with economic cooperation. Okay, you can understand why economic cooperation because इसके name में ही है Asia Pacific Economic Forum है. Okay, they deal with trade barriers and how to make easy trade, import, export. That is the main reason why APEC has been formed. Now you can take a screenshot of this if you want for better understanding and if you really want to learn about it. These are the members of APEC and their joining dates are here. Okay, So you can see 1999 founding members जितने भी होंगे उन सबकी dates same होंगी, and those who have joined later on, which are Chile, China, उनकी dates जो है वो बाद की होंगी obviously. So you can have a screenshot of that as well. Now, there are three basic objectives of APEC. Okay, so the first objective is to promote sustainable economic growth and prosperity in the Asia Pacific region. If you want to remember it, remember that APEC's full form only consists of economic cooperation. So economic growth, sustainability to hoegi hi. Okay, you can remember it that way. The first objective comes from its name itself. The second is the member countries look forward to barrier-free trade, of course, because it is an economic forum. So we need a barrier-free trade to be there. The third basic objective is economic cooperation between the Asia Pacific countries, because if there is no cooperation, how can we make sure that there will be free trade, no issues with trade and economic growth kaise hogi if there is no basic cooperation between the Asia Pacific countries. Now, something that you should know regarding the APEC is the Bogor Declaration. Bogor is a place in Indonesia. And on 15th of November 1994, a declaration was issued by the economic leaders of APEC. And ये जो economic leaders ने जो ये declaration दिया था, that is known as the Bogor Declaration. Okay. So now is declaration में what was discussed? The vision of APEC was discussed, and the vision was to have economic cooperation and economic growth. The declaration aimed to achieve open trade and investment in the Asia Pacific no later than the year 2010 for industrialized economies and no later than 2020 for developing countries. So here north countries, जो northern countries हैं उनको हम industrialized economies कहते हैं, and developing economies are more of Asian and African countries who have faced the British colonialism and imperialism. उनको इन लोगों ने दिया था year 2020 कि by that time we want to have an open trade and investment in the Asia Pacific region. Now, something more apart from objectives and visions that you should know are that there are three pillars of APEC. And these three pillars were discussed or made on the basis of the Bogor Declaration. Okay, so they are liberalization, facilitation, and economic and technical cooperation. See, आपको बार-बार repeating terms लगेंगे, cooperation, economic growth, liberalization, stability, ये वो, but it is an economic forum. You have to understand that they are dealing with these things in their own region. Okay, so वो repeating है, लेकिन उनका जो emphasis है वो हर बार बढ़ता जाता है. So understand that you have to learn it in that same order. The three pillars are expected to interact with each other in a way that will maximize the growth and prosperity in the region. Okay, so pillars हैं तो एक दूसरे के independent तो नहीं कर सकते हैं. Okay, so they are very much independent, I mean to say dependent on each other. So do understand that the three pillars are expected to interact with each other in a way that will maximize the growth and prosperity of the region. Which region? Asia Pacific region. Important summits related to APEC. Formal regional cooperation which happened in 1993 in the Blake Island, US. This was the first formal regional summit that happened. Okay, so इसीलिए that this is the most important summit. APEC was hosted in 2020 by Malaysia, and it is supposed to be hosted by Thailand in 2022. But given the COVID, it has been delayed, and we have to see कि next year कब होता है. So I'll update you on that. But current update is that it has been on hold for the time being. The main point of discussion in both these summits have been about environment and coping up with the issues related to pandemic. Of course, since pandemic has happened, if you notice, all the other organizations as well, which are the ASEAN or the UN or the वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जितने भी समिट्स अभी हो रहे हैं, इन सब का एक मेन थीम है हाउ टू डील विथ पैंडेमिक, हाउ इकोनॉमी इज गोइंग टू गेट अफेक्टेड आफ्टर पैंडेमिक, एंड हाउ each other, different countries can help each other in, bringing up their GDP, bringing up their economic growth and things like that. Okay, next summit is going to be chaired by Thailand, जो अभी हुआ नहीं है. Why? Because it is on hold due to the COVID. But do know that there has been a competition about the logo, and this is the logo for 2022 थाईलैंड में जब एपेक होगा, तो दिस इज द लोगो दैट दे आर गोइंग टू फॉलो और प्रोसीड विद. द चोजन लोगो वाज क्रिएटेड बाय शवानान वांगट्राक्लोंग. I guess that is the correct pronunciation, but if it is wrong, I am very sorry, but I am not able to pronounce it since it is in Chinese and I am not acquainted with Chinese language, so sorry if I cannot pronounce it, but you can memorize it. Basically, he is a student who studies architecture, and I think it is a Chinese name, but I am not sure. It could be other Asian countries as well. So this was it for APEC. APEC is a lesser discussed regional organization, and what else I could find was this included in the slideshow, because ज़्यादा information मेरे को मिली नहीं APEC के बारे में, and but I thought that it is very important to discuss other important organizations as well, because क्या होता है कि हम UN को डिस्कस करते रहते हैं, वर्ल्ड बैंक को डिस्कस करते रहते हैं, WTO को डिस्कस करते रहते हैं, but दूसरे regional organizations are also very important, right? Given the इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस स्टूडेंट्स, अगर आप पॉलिटिकल साइंस के बच्चे हैं एंड आपको इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस में इंटरेस्ट है, सो दिस वीडियो इज गोइंग टू बी हेल्पफुल फॉर यू. एंड नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू stop the video. So this is it for today's video, and I hope you guys liked it. This is a short, crisp video. Mostly I've covered all the information that I could find regarding to APEC. If you have any new information, any added information, you can please comment down below. And bye. Thank you.